Today, we're going to look at making an object that returns to its original position. So if we head to the asset library, we'll just pull out any asset, doesn't really matter what. I guess a food asset is always pretty good. One of my favorites, the salt shaker. This is definitely an asset you're going to want to get in your world. And did you know that if you duplicate the salt shaker, open up your style tab and select the color by thumbsticking to the left, you can select black and make a pepper shaker. Brilliant, I know. And another cool trick here is if we select both objects, open up their properties panel, we can actually make them both interactive and grabbable. Now, having improved this salt and pepper shaker, we realize that they don't always return back to where they came from, which is problematic. And so what we want to do is create a script that returns these back to their original position. From our build menu on the gizmos tab, we're going to pull out a script gizmo, and we're going to call this one return. Now, this return script does not need when world is started. So we're going to select this and pull down to delete. But what it does need to know is when a player has let go of the object. And so this is an event. This defines when something's going to happen. So on our events tab, we'll scroll down to when object is released by player. There it is. We'll drag this over to the left. And now when a player releases the object, we want it to return back to where it started. So on our motion tab, we'll go to motion, grab the move to, dragging this over to here. Now we say move self to this position. Now this isn't the position that it started in. You can find its origin position by opening up the properties panel. And here under the properties, we'll head to the attributes tab. You can see the position is 0.34, 1.22, 3.76. I don't think I'm gonna remember that. So I'm actually just gonna grab this, drag it up into here and start typing. 0.34, 1.22, and 3.76. Now, I don't advise doing it this way, but now that we have, we can, on our salt shaker properties panel, drop down and select the return script. We can head into play mode by pressing forward on our thumbstick, and if we let go, we'll spawn in at that circle. And now we can grab our salt shaker, and when we let go, look at that, it returns. Pretty fantastic salt shaker, if I do say so. Go, 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 go. Wait, don't drink salt. That's a bad idea. Okay, so this is really cool. Now let's go and apply it to our pepper shaker. So we're going to go drop down, select the return script, just like we did before. Coming in here, I grab both of them. Pepper shaker returns, salt shaker returns, and they're on top of each other? No! What have we done wrong? Well, actually, we haven't done anything wrong. We just need to do one additional step. So now what I'd like to do is instead of using this value here, we head to our variables tab. And what a variable does is it allows you to define something that's changing or that's different between objects running the same script. And so if we click new variable, we'll drop down and select a vector. This vector will be called origin position. We'll have origin position, which we will click confirm. Now with origin position created, we just drag this over and place it right here where we had this vector. Now what we need to do next is stop the world. This is what I'd recommend doing. So we're gonna go click stop, click clear. Now our salt and pepper shakers have returned to their original position. So we'll open up the properties panel for both of them. We can press forward and hold to get it to move back towards us. And here you'll see there's a place where we can enter the origin position. So we'll head to the attributes tab. And over here we can see these values. So we'll type this in, 0.34, 1.22, 3.76. All right, so our salt shaker is set up. We'll head over to our pepper shaker, and we also need to go to the attributes tab where we can see it's got a slightly different value. So 0.48, 1.22, 3.76. Very nice. We head back into play mode, and we can grab these salt and pepper shakers. Ah, they return, so we can, salt dust our food. Gulp, 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 gulp. Ah, that's so bad. Don't do that. Anyway, you can see that is a fabulous return script, and now your items will not get lost after users are done interacting with them. So great work. Now, this seemed like a lot of work for each one, and there is a way to make this easier. So we're going to take this a step further. To do that, we're going to head into our script, and over here, you'll remember that we had an event. So back here on our events tab, we had an event called When World is Started. Now this event fires when the world begins for the first time. So if we drag this over, we've got two events now. One is when the person has let go of the object. One is when the world is started. Now we know when the world is started that our salt and pepper shakers are in their origin position. So what if we could set that value from our script? Well, we can. And to do that, we go to our values tab where we'll grab the set to, drag and drop that over under when world is started. And what are we setting? Well, we're going to set the origin position. Now you can drag this over from the variables tab, but we're going to grab this here and thumbstick to the right and to the left side, which is the variable that we're changing. So we're setting the origin position to what value? Well, this value could be a simple vector input from over here, where you could just drag and drop one of these 0, 0, 0s that we were filling out earlier, but that's actually not what we're going to do. So we're going to delete that one. And over on our operators tab, we can scroll down and you're going to find position of object. Brilliant! Now we can grab this position of object, dropping it into the right side here. And what is the object? Well, remember that is self, since this is running on the salt or pepper shaker. We can then thumbstick to the right to duplicate that variable in. And now when the world is started, we have saved that origin position rather than having to type it in a million times. And when the object is released by the player, it will move back to that position. To demonstrate this, we'll go ahead and stop the world. We will then hit play. And to really take this a step further, I just think we need all of the different condiment containers. So we'll duplicate a few of those. Select mustard, because apparently that's a thing. We'll make salt, pepper shaker white and black, and then we'll make a ketchup container, a relish container, and some mayo. Yeah, that's definitely the size and proportions of these things. So we'll scale this up a little bit. There we go. Feeling really good about all of our containers here. And now all we have to do is grab them, let go, and they return. Look at that. All of them return to their original positions. No crazy typing required. Very nice. And what you also noticed here is that when we duplicated these, they retained their script. So they kept those scripts on there, which is super nice. Now, there is one problem. You didn't notice this, but these are upside down and all the condiments are leaking out. That is a terrible flaw, and we definitely don't want to let the salt drip out. Like, no bad luck here, please. So, to save this origin rotation, we're first going to start by stopping the world, which I just really like to do when I'm working on the script. Then I'm going to open up the script again, and from our script, we're going to head to the variables tab, where we'll create a new variable, drop down, and instead of selecting vector, this time we select a rotation value. We'll go ahead and name this one origin rotation, and then we'll click confirm. Now we want to do the exact same thing we did before, but with a rotation value. And so we're going to grab another set to from the top of our values tab. There it is. We'll drag that over. And then over on our variables tab, we'll bring over the origin rotation, dropping it into the left. The value, remember back on our operators tab under object transform, there was a rotation of object. So we'll grab that and place that over here. We'll also select self and thumbstick to the right to duplicate it down. And now we've moved self, but to rotate, we have to head back to the motion tab where we'll see instant motion rotate to. So we'll drag rotate to over. And now we're rotating self not to this value, so we can select it and delete it, and then bring down this one and duplicate by thumbsticking to the right. As a reminder, you can always grab these from the variables tab. Whenever you want one, you can just bring it over like that as well. Fantastic. So now it'll return to its origin rotation. Let's go and hit play on the world, head into play mode, grab our salt and pepper shakers. Hey, look at that. I'm turning these upside down. Oh, but they're not upside down anymore. Fantastic. So that is the second level. Congratulations, you have made it through steps 1, just causing the object to return to a position, and step 2, saving the origin position and origin rotation. Now let's add a delay to this script so that the object doesn't always return immediately, but allows you to hold on to it for a little bit and then it returns. So remember how I said when world is started is one event and when the object is released is another event? To make something have a delay, you'd kind of intuitively think, let's just add a delay to it, right? But unfortunately, that's not how it works. So what we need to think about is the event structure. So when the object is released, we can cause something to happen, but if we want it to happen after a delay, then we need a different event to go off. And so this is where we're going to go to our events tab here on the far left, select when event is received from the top, bring that over. And now this says my event, and my event can be any custom name. So we're going to select the dropdown, select the top where it says new event, and we're going to call this delay. Now that we have delay in here, we'll go ahead and click confirm. And now we can drag move self and rotate self down into the delay event. And this delay event currently doesn't happen. There's no reason that it could happen because nothing is triggering it. But what we can find here right under the events is send event with delay. Now this allows us to trigger any event that we want to go off with a delay. So here it says 1 second, and we can drop down and change it from my event to that new custom event name called delay. And now let's change this time to say 5 seconds. Now the object, once it's released, will return back to to its original position after 5 seconds. It is quite simple. So we'll go ahead and make sure we hit play world, which it is. Head back in here. And from over here, we'll grab these items, letting them go right about here. And in a few seconds, you'll see they all return. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Yes. Just like that, we have created a delayed return script. The problem with this script, though, is if I grab it again, so if I grab this object again, it's still going to try to return. It might pull out of my hand. Let's see. Yeah, so you saw that kind of weird flickery thing. Obviously, we don't want that to happen. So how do we fix that? Well, if we head back into build mode and we look at our script and we think about this very hard, we'll remember that when the object is released, it's sending delay event every time the object is released. So if somebody grabs it again, we don't need to worry about this delay happening. And so if we head to our events tab, scroll down, we'll go ahead and grab when object is grabbed by player. And I like to think about this in chronological order, just helps my brain a little bit. So when world is started, then the player has grabbed the object, then they've released the object, then the delay event goes off. Now, when the object is grabbed by the player, if they've already released it, this delay event has a 5-second delay. And if we head back to the top of our events tab, at the top of our events tab, you'll see there is send event with delay. Wait, cancel sending with delay? This is perfect. It's exactly what we needed. So if we drag this over into when object is grabbed by player, we can now cancel not my event, but the delay event we had previously sent, which will prevent it from trying to execute the events that are happening in delay. So now if we head back into play mode and grab these objects, and then I choose 2 at random to just hold on to, you'll see that they don't get teleported back like the others do. And voila. But now they will after 5 seconds since we've let them go again. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! And like that, we have a return script with a delay. Really great work. Awesome job. We have taken this return script really far. We've got a delay. We've got all this stuff happening. What we've defined here are 2 really great events. One that instantly returns and one that delay returns. And if you know that's the only thing you want for your world and you're building this by hand, this is perfect. Don't feel like you need to take this a step further. But what I do is I try to make things for everybody, something that works for multiple users. And I really want to add a lot more variables that allow it to be customized. And so on our variables tab, I'm going to start by creating a new variable. This is going to be called delay. And this is going to refer to how much time does it take to return. We'll set the default to 5. And so this number value in here defines what is the default amount of time that it's going to take to return. And we can drag this and place it into this 5-second slot. Really great work there. Very nice. But there's one other thing I'd like to do. I'd like to give you the option to define if it returns instantly or with a delay. And to do that, we click new variable, and this is going to be called a Boolean. Now, a Boolean is basically a true or false statement, and I'll explain it a little bit further, but what we're going to find as a name for this is something that defines yes or no, right? So we'll say instantly returns. Okay, so we've got instantly returns, and then we hit enter, and then we click confirm. And now instantly return is currently set to false, which means it would not instantly return. And so if we go to our events tab, at the very top of our events, there is an if control code block. And this allows us to determine if something is this, then do this. If something is that, do something else. And so what we can do is drag this if block down here into when object is released by player, and then back on our variables tab, bring instantly returns into here. Now, when it instantly returns, what we want to do is cause this delay event to happen instantly. And so that can be done by going to the events tab and saying send event to object. So if we drag that into the if and drop down and select the delay event, we've now said if it's an instant return, then instantly send delay back and it will immediately return. That's awesome, but this other delay event needs to only happen if it's not instantly returned. So we grab the else code block, dropping it right here below. You'll note that the white bar is below here, which causes it to connect. So you can see the bar is now connected versus if I put it here, we get this error. There we go. So now that that's connected, we can drag this and indent it into the else. So you'll see the white bar there gets indented. It's a little hard to do, but there we go. And now we have created an option for our objects to have delay or instant return. And we can demonstrate that by closing this script, opening up the properties panel for this one, selecting instant on our salt and pepper shakers. And so now that they are both set to true or on in that case, we can select them and they instantly return versus these still have the delayed return. And yet they're running the exact same script. That is so cool. Well, I think that's it. You guys have learned a fabulous trick using this return script. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in Horizon. Bye!